So picture yourself lying in bed. It's 3 a.m., right?
Oh, the classic 3 a.m. ceiling stare.
Exactly. The house is completely quiet, but your mind is just absolutely roaring. You're staring up at the ceiling, calculating this massive amount of effort that you're pouring into your life.
Right, the mental accounting.
Yeah. You think about the 4 a.m. wake-ups. You think about the skipped lunches, the relentless, just grinding hustle that society tells you is the only path forward.
The whole rise and grind mindset.
Right. And as you lie there in the dark, you feel this, it's this hollow, sinking frustration. You are burning 1,000 calories of effort for every 1 calorie of reward.
Which is an exhausting way to live.
It really is.
Yeah.
But what if the problem isn't actually your work ethic? What if your fundamental biological operating system is just wired for failure?
That is the terrifying question, isn't it?
It really is. So today, we are opening the classified level logs of a figure who completely shatters our modern conceptions of both hustle culture on one side and, passive spiritual tranquility on the other.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, we are taking a deep dive into the life and these highly analytical frameworks of a man known simply as Osman, the blind Muslim yogi.
You know, the word paradox doesn't even begin to cover this guy's biography.
No, not at all.
We're looking at a man who, according to the source material, achieved peak spiritual samadhi, which is this profound, non-dual state of consciousness at the age of 19.
Which is incredibly young.
Right. And he has practiced advanced yoga and meditation for 50 years. But here's the kicker. He didn't retreat to a cave or renounce the material world.
Yeah, that's the part that really got me.
He took this exact same internal operating system and used it to build, lose, and then literally rebuild multi-million-dollar real estate empires.
And his current reality is even more mind-bending than that.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a master-level critical care bioenergy healer. He deals with terminal ICU cases.
Right.
And he became permanently blind in May 2023, yet he describes his daily visual experience not as darkness, but as these vivid, geometric, color-coded, energetic blueprints.
Yeah, he literally perceives the universe's source code.
It's wild, which forces us to just completely throw out all our preconceived notions of modern wellness.
Oh, totally. Osman entirely rejects that pastel-colored vending machine universe manifestation culture that just dominates social media right now.
Yes, exactly. You know the exact aesthetic I'm talking about.
The one where you just close your eyes and visualize a sports car.
Right, clear your chakras with some incense, say a few nice words, and the universe will just hand you a check.
Yeah, no. He treats ancient Vedic science as ruthless, pragmatic, biological engineering.
Biological engineering.
Exactly. It's not about vibes at all. It is entirely about voltage.
So, to understand how you can actually achieve success in your own life without just completely burning out the human machine, we have to break down Osman's core framework.
Right, the three-legged stool.
Yes, he calls it his fiercely practical three-legged stool of success. And if any one of these 3 legs is missing, the whole stool collapses, right?
Taking your career and health right down with it.
Exactly, taking your relationships down with it, too. So let's unpack the first leg, which he calls the engine.
Okay, the engine. Let's get into it.
Osman offers this blistering critique of our cultural obsession with pure brute force hard work. He acknowledges that hard work is, it's the non-negotiable price of entry.
You got to do the work.
Right, but using it in isolation is fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, he uses this mechanical analogy that perfectly diagnoses modern burnout.
The car analogy, I love this one.
It's so good. He says relying solely on hard work is like dropping a 1,000 horsepower twin-turbo V8 engine into a car that has no steering wheel.
Okay, let's actually play that out. What actually happens when you sit in that car and slam your foot on the gas pedal?
Complete disaster.
Right, all that magnificent power, all that raw horsepower, it just becomes destructive.
Yeah, the frame shakes, you create deafening noise.
You burn through your fuel in seconds, you spin your tires into this massive cloud of smoke, or worse, you accelerate straight into a brick wall at 200 miles an hour.
And that is the exact daily reality for millions of professionals right now.
Yeah, it really is.
The engine doesn't know where it's going. It only knows how to generate forward force.
Because people are constantly told to just hustle harder, right?
Right. Press the gas pedal to the floor.
Yeah.
But they're never given the mechanism to steer the vehicle. So they just generate friction.
Hold on, though. I'm looking at his own historical logs from the source material, and I have to call out what looks like a massive contradiction here.
Oh, the practice hours?
Yeah, Osman is critiquing hustle culture, yet his records show that in his youth, he practiced his yogic disciplines up to 18 hours a day.
18 hours.
18 hours. And even now, in his late 50s, he practices 8 to 10 hours daily. I mean, isn't practicing 18 hours a day the ultimate, toxic form of hustle culture?
It certainly sounds like it.
Right. Is this actually enlightenment or is it just clinical obsession?
I mean, that's the natural conclusion to draw, but the distinction lies entirely in the target and the mechanics of that effort.
Okay, how so?
Osman isn't grinding 18 hours a day for external validation. He isn't doing it to impress a middle manager or to, color code a spreadsheet just to look busy.
Right.
He is engaged in what he calls sharpening the sword.
Sharpening the sword, okay.
Yeah. He is using that immense dedicated time to build the physical and neurological container capable of handling massive power. Think of it as constructing a biological nuclear reactor.
Oh, I think I see where you're going with this. It's like a city's electrical grid.
Exactly.
Like if you try to run power meant for an industrial manufacturing plant through the wiring of a standard suburban kitchen,
You don't get more toast, you just burn the house down.
you burn the house down. That is such a perfect translation of the physics involved.
Right, because if you are going to channel the immense cosmic voltage of peak consciousness.
Or honestly, even just the massive stress of running a multi-million-dollar empire.
Exactly. You cannot run it through the frayed, thin copper wires of an unconditioned human nervous system.
The system would experience a catastrophic meltdown.
Total meltdown. His 18-hour days were pure mechanical preparation. He was thickening the physical insulation on his neural pathways,
He was upgrading the hardware.
upgrading the hardware so it wouldn't fry when the high-level software was finally loaded. It wasn't blind ambition at all. It was biological necessity.
Wow. Okay, that reframes it completely. So leg one is building that massive, high-capacity engine.
Yes.
But if hard work is just an engine that pushes you forward, you need something to keep you from crashing into the wall. You need a steering wheel.
And Osman defines this second leg as pure strategy.
Right, because strategy is no longer just a luxury. It is the ultimate survival mechanism in the modern economy.
Oh, absolutely. We are living in an era where AI algorithms can outwork any human in data processing.
And code generation, repetitive tasks, all of it in a matter of seconds.
Right. Sheer effort is obsolete now. You just cannot out-hustle an algorithm.
Which is why Osman provides what he calls the no-debt MBA reading list. It's designed to help you build this exact steering wheel.
Yeah, and looking at the source material, the first recommendation totally threw me off.
Dale Carnegie, right.
Yes. Specifically, how to win friends and influence people, and how to stop worrying and start living.
I had to be honest, that seems surprisingly quaint for a highly advanced mystic who perceives the universe in energetic blueprints.
It does. It seems like this weird relic from the 1930s at first glance.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at the underlying biological reality here.
Okay, what's the biological reality of Dale Carnegie?
Why does he matter more than ever in the age of AI? Because artificial intelligence cannot replicate biological empathy. An algorithm cannot sit across a physical negotiation table and read the micro-expressions flashing across a client's face.
Right, an algorithm doesn't know what to do when the client's jaw tightens.
Or when their pupils dilate slightly because they're secretly anxious about the deal.
Exactly. Humans are basically biochemical sensors.
Yes. And AI is trapped behind glass. It cannot smell the cortisol in a room when a negotiation goes south.
It can't manage the incredibly fragile defensive human ego.
Yes, exactly. Carnegie's work is essentially a manual for bypassing the ego's defense mechanisms.
So in a world automated by cold logic, biological empathy and emotional regulation become these unparalleled, irreplicable strategic advantages.
It is an impenetrable moat around your career.
Empathy is a strategic moat. I love that.
That's brilliant.
Then he moves to the second part of the steering wheel, which is Robert Dilts and the study of NLP.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Right, specifically the book's Sleight of Mouth.
This is where the strategy moves from passive observation to active linguistic control.
Okay, let's give a concrete scenario to understand how this actually works.
Sure.
Let's say you're pitching a client or, even just arguing with your partner, and they present this massive wall of resistance.
Like your product is too expensive.
Or your idea is too risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you use the hard work engine, you just run headfirst into that brick wall.
You just throw data at them.
Right. You show them ROI charts, you try to logic them into agreeing with you.
And what happens biologically when you argue like that?
Yeah.
You trigger their amygdala.
You initiate a threat response.
Exactly. Their brain perceives your logic as a literal attack on their status or safety, and their ego hardens.
So you end up with a concussion and the wall just gets thicker.
Right. But NLP is like verbal sleight of hand.
How so?
It bypasses the critical defensive faculties of the brain entirely. You don't push the wall, you reframe reality so the wall simply isn't there.
Okay, give me an example.
If the client says, "This is too expensive," instead of arguing about price, an NLP reframe might pivot to their underlying value.
Like what?
You'd say, "It sounds like making a deeply secure long-term decision for your company is your top priority right now."
Oh, wow. Notice what happened there. You didn't argue the price at all.
Nope. You validated their underlying emotional need, which is security.
You sidestepped the resistance and spoke directly to their subconscious. You lowered their amygdala response.
That level of linguistic control is incredibly powerful. It really is. But the third part of his no-debt MBA is where I really have to stop and ask some hard questions.
The Chinese strategies.
Yes, he mandates the study of the 36 Chinese strategies. Hold on. I'm looking at this list of maxims right now.
They're pretty intense.
Kill with a borrowed knife,
Mm-hmm.
deceive the heavens to cross the ocean, loot a burning house.
Yeah, they sound brutal.
You're telling me a guy who claims to have reached peak spiritual enlightenment is assigning ancient, highly deceptive military tactics?
Mm.
That sounds incredibly predatory, not spiritual.
That is the most common reaction, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Osman's context completely flips the utility of these strategies.
Okay, I'm listening.
He is not teaching you to be predatory. He is teaching you defensive driving.
Defensive driving against what?
Against the reality of the human condition in a hyper-competitive world.
Okay.
Let's take your example. Kill with a borrowed knife. In a corporate setting, this obviously isn't literal murder.
Right, I'd hope not.
This is the toxic coworker who wants you fired but doesn't want to leave fingerprints. Oh, I've seen this happen.
Right. So they subtly pit a demanding, high-maintenance client against you, feeding the client bad information about your performance.
Wow.
And when the project inevitably blows up, the client demands your removal, the coworker gets your job, and their hands look completely clean.
They use the client as the borrowed knife.
Exactly.
Oh. And if I don't know that specific strategy exists, I just think I had a bad run of luck with a tough client. I don't even see the strings being pulled.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You cannot protect yourself from predatory corporate espionage, or complex financial manipulation, or deeply toxic relationships if you don't understand the mechanics of a trap.
Right. If you enter the modern global economy armed only with good intentions and a strong work ethic, you will be devoured.
You study the architecture of deception so that your empathy and your vision remain protected. You have to know what a tripwire looks like to step over it.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So we have the biological empathy, the linguistic reframing, and the defensive driving. You have this incredibly sophisticated steering wheel, but how do you know if you are actually steering in the right direction?
That's where Osman offers this brutal tactical reality check that he calls the fortnight assessment.
The fortnight assessment, it's a structural safeguard against self-delusion, isn't it?
Yes. Every 14 days, you must sit down, look at your life, your business, your health protocol, and ask yourself one unforgiving question.
Is nothing happening?
Exactly. Is nothing happening?
That is such a painful question to ask because humans are naturally so stubborn. We get attached to our projects.
We all fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy.
We really do. We confuse being busy with making actual progress.
Right. You can spend 2 weeks color-coding your spreadsheets, organizing your inbox, having endless Zoom meetings.
And at the end of the day, your nervous system feels exhausted, so you just assume you're moving forward.
But motion does not equal momentum. Osman says if your strategy hasn't literally moved the needle closer to the goal in 14 days, you don't double down.
You don't try to force it.
No, you drop it. You pivot immediately.
I'm stuck on this part, though. How does he actually force himself to abandon a bad strategy when his ego is invested?
It's hard.
Let's say you've spent 14 days and $10,000 building a marketing funnel, and it yields 0 results. Your ego screams, just give it 1 more week. We put so much work into this.
It requires an absolute divorce from your own identity. You cannot attach your self-worth to a specific tactic.
Ah.
Osman views strategies as temporary tools, not permanent philosophies.
Yeah.
If a hammer isn't driving the nail after 14 days, you don't get mad at the hammer.
Yeah.
And you don't keep swinging it out of pride.
You pick up a wrench.
Right. If it doesn't work in a fortnight, the mechanics are flawed. Move on.
So let's recap where we are. You have leg 1, A massive high-capacity engine of hard work, structurally sound enough to handle pressure.
Yeah.
You have leg 2, a finely tuned, highly strategic steering wheel equipped with empathy, linguistic control, and defensive awareness. Yet, with all of this, why do so many brilliant, hardworking, strategic people still self-sabotage? Why do they blow up their marriages, ruin their health, or crash their careers into a ditch when they have everything going for them?
Because of leg 3,
The
driver.
The drive.
You can have the most powerful engine and the most precise steering wheel in the world, but if the driver is asleep, panicked, or secretly wants to drive the car off a cliff, the vehicle is doomed.
And this brings us to the staggering operational imbalance of the human brain.
Yes, the 97% rule.
Right. Osman bases his entire philosophy on the neuroscientific premise that 97% of human behavior is controlled by the subconscious mind.
And only a tiny 3% is controlled by the conscious, rational mind.
Which is terrifying when you think about it.
The psychologist Jonathan Haidt popularized a brilliant analogy for this that fits perfectly with Osman's mechanics, the rider and the elephant.
Oh, I've heard of this.
The 3% conscious mind is the rider sitting on top of a 97% subconscious elephant. The rider is the part of you that sets New Year's resolutions. The part that is listening to this deep dive right now, the part that genuinely wants success, health, and a good relationship.
But the elephant.
The elephant is your ancient nervous system. It is programmed with deep ancestral trauma, childhood conditioning, scarcity mindsets, and epigenetic baggage.
Let's apply this to everyday life just to make it concrete.
Okay.
If that subconscious elephant was programmed by your childhood environment to believe that money makes people greedy and ruins families.
Or that success will make your peers abandon you.
Right. Or that you fundamentally just do not deserve to be happy, what happens?
The 3% rider says, steer left toward this amazing promotion. But the 97% elephant feels terrified of that success.
It views it as a literal threat to survival.
An elephant will always overpower a rider.
So the elephant literally engineers your failure. It will orchestrate bad financial investments. It will trigger toxic arguments with your boss.
Or cause you to oversleep on the day of the most important meeting of your life.
Just to drag you back to its comfortable, familiar baseline of struggle.
Because to the elephant, familiarity equals safety. Even if that familiarity is painful, chaotic, and broke, the nervous system prefers a known misery to an unknown success.
Wow. And you cannot logic with an elephant.
Not at all.
You can't just stare in a mirror, flex your 3% conscious mind, and tell your nervous system to stop being poor.
Positive affirmations won't thicken a myelin sheath on their own.
Right. The elephant doesn't speak English, it speaks biology. So
Right.
how do you actually update that biological software?
Osman's protocol for this bypasses the intellect entirely. It is a process he terms aggressive repetition.
Aggressive repetition, how does that actually work in practice?
Well, you cannot reason with the elephant, so you have to condition its environment through total immersion.
Total immersion.
Yeah. Osman advocates listening to success language, high-level strategic concepts, and audio protocols on a constant aggressive loop.
Like while you're driving, washing dishes, folding laundry, walking the dog.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to play the role of the listener here.
Go for it.
If I am commuting to my 9 to 5 job and I have 2 kids crying in the back seat, or if I'm aggressively scrubbing dishes, I'm not actively paying attention to an audiobook.
Right.
I'm not taking notes. How is that helping me? Is this operating system only for monks who have 18 hours a day in a silent room?
No, and the beauty of this mechanism is that your lack of attention is exactly the point.
Wait, really?
Yes, you actually want to bypass the critical, analytical 3% rider. When you sit down with a notebook and actively study, your conscious mind acts as a bottleneck.
Oh, because it judges the information.
It argues with it, it filters it. By playing this material in the background while your conscious mind is distracted by traffic or soapy dishes, you are slipping the data past the guards.
You are positively brainwashing the 97% elephant.
You are hacking the background processing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Osman is utilizing Hebb's law from neuroscience.
The fundamental principle that neurons that fire together wire together.
So by constantly bathing the brain in this acoustic environment of success, strategy, and high-level thinking, you are literally forcing the brain to adapt structurally.
You are laying down new neural pathways.
Thickening the myelin sheaths around those pathways, which speeds up the transmission of those specific thoughts.
You are completely rewriting the underlying biological code without the conscious mind even getting involved.
You change the default operating system of the elephant. Eventually, the elephant naturally wants to walk toward success because those neural pathways are now the path of least resistance.
You don't have to whip and drag the elephant anymore.
That is incredible.
But, and this is a massive, but in Osman's system, before you can effectively rewrite this software, you have to ensure the hardware isn't rusted out.
Okay, so we're brainwashing the subconscious elephant while doing dishes. But earlier you mentioned the nervous system would literally melt down if the hardware isn't upgraded to handle the new voltage.
Yes, the hardware upgrade.
How does someone actually upgrade their physical, biological hardware? Stripping away all the incense, the chanting, and the spa day aesthetics of modern wellness retreats.
Osman treats the human body as a literal hydraulic and electrical grid.
To him, spirituality is not a soft, gentle vibe.
Not at all. It is harsh mechanical biological engineering.
So we have to look closely at how he approaches ancient Kriya and breathwork.
Because in the West, we think of breathwork as taking a few deep breaths to lower our heart rate before a stressful Zoom call.
Right, like a little box breathing to calm down.
Osman's application is entirely different. It is about applying immense mechanical torque to your internal organs.
The source materials detail his baseline preparation, and the math alone is just grueling.
Oh, the 1.4.2 ratio.
Yes. You inhale for 1 count, you hold that breath under intense physical pressure for 4 counts, and you exhale for 2 counts.
You do this continuously to stretch the baseline capacity of your cellular battery.
But then you step into the advanced Kriya mechanics, the 25-100 protocol.
This is where the physics become undeniable and incredibly demanding.
Explain the 25-100 protocol.
The protocol dictates inhaling to your absolute maximum physical capacity for a count of 25.
So your lungs are entirely expanded, pressing against your rib cage.
And then you execute what he calls a brutal 25-count hammer hold.
A hammer hold, even the terminology sounds violent.
It does.
What is physically happening inside the body during a hammer hold?
You are actively creating massive intra-abdominal pressure. You are pushing down with your diaphragm and pulling up with your pelvic floor.
Okay.
You are not sitting there visualizing a peaceful white light.
Yeah.
You are physically compressing the vagus nerve and manipulating the hydraulic dynamics of your cerebrospinal fluid.
The fluid that bathes your brain and spinal cord.
Exactly.
So you are using mechanical hydraulic torque to literally squeeze and force the dense evolutionary biological energy, what the ancient yogis call kundalini, up the central channel of the spine and straight into the brainstem.
It is a forced electrical surge.
But that raises a terrifying question.
I know what you're going to say.
We are talking about running industrial level voltage through a human body. What happens if this goes wrong? What if the internal wiring is faulty?
That is the greatest danger in these esoteric practices, and it's something modern manifestation culture completely ignores.
Or is just entirely ignorant of?
Right. Osman details the architecture of the yogic subtle nervous system to explain the risks.
Let's break that down.
The central superconductor running straight up the spine is called the sushumna. In a biologically perfect state, the voltage travels straight up this superconductor to the brain,
Resulting in samadhi, pure, frictionless bliss, peak cognitive function, expanded consciousness.
but practically nobody walking around today has a clear superconductor.
Nope. Our central channels are blocked by years of unhealed trauma, chronic daily stress, poor physical posture from staring at screens.
Inflammatory processed food. It's like a garden hose clogged with concrete.
And energy, just like water or electricity, always follows the path of least resistance.
Yes. So if you force massive hydraulic pressure up from the base of the spine, using that 25-count hammer hold, and the central pipe is blocked,
That high voltage energy violently diverts into the side pipes.
the side channels, the Ida and the Pingala.
Let's look at the mechanics of a misfire.
Okay, so the left channel is the Ida, which corresponds physiologically to the parasympathetic nervous system. It regulates our internal psychological, intuitive, and emotional world.
And if that massive cosmic voltage hits a block and diverts up the left channel,
It dramatically overloads the brain's emotional processing centers.
the source materials describe this outcome as left channel terror.
Left channel terror.
It causes severe panic attacks, crushing clinical depression, or even complete psychotic breaks.
The ego essentially shatters because the neurological hardware cannot process the sheer volume of terrifying energetic data flooding the system.
And if the energy diverts into the right channel, the Pingala, the results are equally catastrophic, but in a very different way, right?
Right. The Pingala governs the sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response, and physical heat generation.
That leads to a literal physical meltdown.
Yeah, the source cites the infamous historical agony of a mystic named Gopi Krishna.
Oh, this story is intense.
He accidentally forced this massive energy up his right channel. He experienced a physiological meltdown.
He wrote that he felt like he was burning alive from the inside out.
He suffered from chronic, agonizing inflammation and systemic organ failure for years. His biological cooling system was completely bypassed,
And his internal engine basically melted down from sheer internal friction.
which is precisely why Osman insists that preparation is non-negotiable. You cannot just jump into advanced KRIYA because you watched a 10-minute tutorial online.
Definitely not.
To safely manage this massive electrical capacity, to clear the central channel so the energy flows safely, one must prepare the nervous system through what Osman calls advanced mantra science.
And this brings us to the math of enlightenment. Because Osman completely and utterly rejects the modern wellness industry's focus on emotional quality.
You hear this advice all the time in yoga studios.
If you don't truly feel the meditation in your heart, if you aren't present with the emotion, it's not working.
Osman says that as a trap. He promotes vibration over vibes and staggering, relentless quantity over fleeting emotional quality.
So we have to redefine what a mantra actually is in this context. It is not a psychological positive affirmation.
No, it is not looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough, I am strong.
Right. It's not a pep talk to boost your self-esteem.
Ancient mantras are sonic technologies. They are precise, mathematically calculated acoustic frequencies.
Explain the physics of that.
When you chant a specific Sanskrit mantra, you are mechanically vibrating the palate of your mouth, which directly stimulates the vagus nerve.
The wandering nerve that connects the brain to the gut and regulates your fight or flight response.
Right. You are forcing a shift in your heart rate variability. You are taking the default mode network, the specific region of the brain responsible for your anxiety, your ego, and your endless wandering thoughts, and forcing it to shut down by overwhelming it with acoustic resonance.
Okay, I understand the mechanism, but the math in the source material is what honestly broke my brain.
The 10 million repetitions.
Yes. Osman mentions a foundational threshold of 10 million repetitions of a mantra. 10 million. I don't care how dedicated you are. How is that biologically possible without completely destroying your vocal cords?
It sounds impossible.
Let's go back to the commuter with 2 kids. How on earth does a normal human being hit 10 million repetitions?
This is where the practice transitions from the physical body to the neurological realm. Osman utilizes a technique called monastic, or mental chanting.
How does mental chanting accelerate the math so drastically?
Well, in the beginning, you must chant verbally to establish the physical vibration in the body. But eventually, through aggressive repetition, that specific acoustic frequency becomes physically carved into your neural pathways.
It becomes a deeply grooved circuit.
Exactly. Once it is physically wired into the brain, you transition to mental chanting. And this is the key. Thought operates on gamma wave frequencies, the highest frequency brain waves associated with peak concentration and rapid processing.
So once the mantra is internalized, it vibrates at the speed of thought.
Yes, so you aren't limited by the physical speed of your tongue, your lips, or your lung capacity.
You can execute hundreds of repetitions per minute internally, completely bypassing the physical vocal apparatus.
You can be running a board meeting, driving a car, or making dinner, and your brain is simultaneously processing hundreds of mantra repetitions in the background.
That is how you reach the 10 million threshold through sheer, sustained neurological processing power.
And to keep you on track, to ensure you don't lose your mind trying to count to 10 million, the system has these incredible gamified save points.
The save points.
Yeah, Osman outlines a strict mathematical system. You have a daily absolute minimum of 1,080 repetitions. If you achieve 10,080 repetitions in a single day, it creates a neurological save point.
It's a fascinating biological safety net built into the ancient architecture.
It really is. It acknowledges human frailty and the chaos of the modern world.
Like, if you hit that 10,080 save point, and then a week later you get the flu, or you have a family emergency, and you miss a day, breaking your daily chain,
Your progress is banked.
the biological rewiring achieved up to that point is locked in. You don't slide back to zero.
It demands absolute numerical accountability. You must do the work.
Yeah.
But it provides a structural safety net for the reality of human life.
So we have a man who is treating the human body as a biochemical machine, using mechanical torque, hydraulic pressure, and sonic technology to literally hack consciousness.
Yeah.
This intense, fiercely physical approach leads directly to Osman's most profound philosophical departure from ancient spiritual traditions.
His rejection of the meat suit philosophy.
He absolutely rejects what he calls the meat suit philosophy.
This is a massive paradigm shift. Throughout history, many ancient ascetics and highly revered mystic figures like Sri Ramakrishna in the 19th century viewed the dense physical body as a degrading, rotting prison.
Like they were trapped in flesh.
Right. Their ultimate spiritual goal was to escape the physical form, to transcend into an ethereal, disembodied state of pure spirit where they couldn't even interact with the physical world.
They essentially wanted to evaporate into the void and leave the suffering of the flesh behind.
But Osman vehemently rejects that. He says, no, the physical body is not a trap. The dense biological body is the ultimate highly tunable vehicle for consciousness.
You require this physical density to experience the warmth of a sunset on your skin.
You require a physical biological nervous system to hold a child and actually feel the neurochemical rush of love.
You don't abandon the machine, you optimize it to its absolute limits.
And this philosophy directly informs his work today as a healer. Because Osman values the physical body so deeply, he uses his 50 years of sharpening the sword, all that generated voltage, all those thickened myelin sheaths, not to escape to a higher dimension, but to perform remote, critical care healing right here on Earth.
He calls the physical world the squatter camp.
The squatter camp.
It's dirty, it's painful, there is disease, betrayal, and massive suffering. He has the energetic capacity to leave, to reside permanently in the pristine, frictionless dimensions of pure consciousness.
But he deliberately chooses to stay in the mud of the squatter camp to pull people back from the brink of death.
Let's look at the actual physics of how he heals. We're talking about terminal ICU cases. How does he actually reboot a dying person's biology from across the world?
He treats the human brain and nervous system as a transceiver. We are biological antennas capable of sending and receiving immense amounts of data. Every single human has a unique energetic signature, much like a specific fluctuating IP address on a computer network.
So when a patient is in terminal multi-organ failure, their biological software is deeply corrupted.
Their energetic field is in a state of massive entropy and chaotic static.
So Osman, sitting halfway across the world, completely blind, uses his stabilized, hyper-dense, high-frequency energy field.
Built through 50 years of those 18-hour days and tens of millions of mantras.
Right. He uses that field to locate that specific patient's IP address in the quantum field. He creates a bridge.
And once that connection is established, he utilizes the principle of entrainment. He acts as a massive dominant tuning fork.
This makes perfect sense physically. If you strike a massive, powerful tuning fork and place it next to a smaller, chaotic tuning fork,
the smaller one will naturally adapt and synchronize to the dominant frequency.
Exactly. Osman channels a massive, highly organized, energetic current across that connection, overpowering the entropic chaos of the disease.
He is literally rebooting their biological software, forcing their failing cells to remember and entrain to their original healthy operating frequency.
He is the ER surgeon of the energy world.
It is the ultimate synthesis of the three-legged stool.
He uses the massive engine of his generated voltage,
The precise strategy of his energetic targeting.
and the driver of his completely rewired, unshakable subconscious to override the mechanics of death itself.
It proves that mastering the internal world gives you unparalleled leverage over the external world.
Let's take a deep breath and look at the incredible territory we've covered today.
We've covered a lot.
We started by deconstructing the hollow, exhausting, false promise of mindless hustle culture. We realized that raw hard work without a steering wheel is just a fast track to a high-speed collision with a brick wall.
So we built a highly precise steering wheel using the biological empathy of Dale Carnegie, the subconscious linguistic reframing of NLP, and the defensive driving tactics of ancient Chinese strategies.
All held strictly accountable by the brutal, ego-destroying 14-day fortnight assessment.
We then explored the absolute necessity of rewiring the 97% subconscious elephant. We saw how the aggressive repetition of success language utilizes neuroplasticity to physically thicken myelin sheaths.
Completely changing our default nature without relying on the weak willpower of the conscious mind.
And then we stepped into the biological lab. We explored the terrifying mathematically precise physics of advanced KRIYA and mantra science,
We learned about the hydraulic torque of the 25-100 hammer hold protocol
the catastrophic dangers of left channel terror and right channel meltdown.
and the 10 million repetition sonic technology that mechanically vibrates the vagus nerve into submission. Osman has proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the spiritual and the material are not enemies.
They're the exact same mechanics, just vibrating at different frequencies.
Which leaves us with the final mind-bending extrapolation directly inspired by the source material. Right now, as we speak, massive artificial intelligence systems like AlphaFold are rapidly and flawlessly mapping the entire universe of complex human proteins.
Quantum computers are beginning to model atomic biology with unprecedented accuracy.
So what happens when we inevitably feed these supercomputers the esoteric hidden data of the yogis?
Right. What happens when we input the precise fluid dynamics and hydraulic pressure changes of a 64-second hammer hold?
Or the exact acoustic frequency required to trigger a vagal nerve response? Or the electromagnetic data of a forced kundalini surge up the spine?
Will artificial intelligence finally prove the math of the mystics?
Will we discover that for thousands of years, these ancient yogis sitting in caves weren't practicing magic, faith, or religion at all?
But we're actually executing hyper-advanced, open-source cellular biology.
It makes you wonder if enlightenment isn't some mystical gift bestowed from the heavens, but just the ultimate mathematically guaranteed biological software update. Something for you to ponder the next time you are lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, and taking a single deep breath. See you on the next deep dive.